What is going on, guys? Thank you for entering the chamber once again. We got a long one in front of us because today we're going to be evaluating every single character in the My Hero, now UniVersus collectible card game. And I'm going to give my thoughts on what I think is competitive and what I don't. Obviously, there's a lot of characters to go through, so just to lay out a few ground rules for this. First, if I think your character is just kind of locals tier or meme tier, I'm probably not even going to bother explaining why. They're going to go there and move on because we got a lot of characters to hit. Two, if I cover a character from the new set JetBurn, no matter where they get placed, I'll be sure to talk about it. To go over all the tiers from top down, meta means that I think, as the name would imply it, this is like the characters people are going to be talking about, they're going to be playing. They're going to be the most represented characters. This is going to be a very elite tier. Competitive, number two. The competitive tier is for the characters that are almost as good as the meta tier. They're going to still see like regular representation, but they're not going to see quite as much play as the meta tier. It's really just like a small step down. Three is your rogue tier. These are the characters that you're going to see like a one person here top with someone, over there tops with. It could be like a really surprising upset. Maybe a character that doesn't end up topping, but that I personally think has the potential to get a top cut at a RLE. Locals tier, as the name would imply, this is kind of where we're getting into like the more for fun characters. Generally speaking, I don't think these characters can top cut. They flat out cannot win an event. If they do top cut, the player playing the deck either A, had a truly incredible deck breakthrough, or they got lucky, like really lucky. And then meme tier, these are like joke characters that I just don't think are playable and they're just bad. One other thing before we start, I'm going to be announcing the two winners of my giveaway for the 2 boxes of JetBurn that I was given courtesy of UVS Games. There's going to be a couple of handles on the screen right now. In addition, once this video goes live, I'll be commenting on the posts in the video for the giveaway with my Discord handle. So feel free to reach out to me on Discord. If that's not good for you, just let me know in the comments and we'll work something out so that way I can get you guys your cards. So congratulations to the winners. With that out of the way, let's get into this, starting with Trueform All Might. Oh, and one more small thing before I begin. I'm not going to rate each of these characters directly like 1-to-1. So if a character is slightly to the left of another character, it doesn't mean I think that character is specifically better than that other character. But I will kind of broadly place characters more to the left if I think they're better, and more to the right if I think they're more barely in that tier. So don't take it as like a hard and fast rule, but just kind of like a rule of thumb. With that being said, I'm going to put True Form, I think, all the way over here at the top form of competitive. This character was doing some incredibly messed up stuff when people figured out how to do, Detroit Smash for huge values. And you can still do that. He's a really boring character and kind of a one-trick pony. And I think it would be tougher to play at a longer event. And I don't really honestly see anyone actually playing this guy. He is in a Capture Evildoers meta, which hurts him a little bit. But this character's still good. You could still definitely, like, if you were down to play it, I think you could top a PSC with him. It'd just be a very boring PSC. Mount Lady One's a meme. Eraserhead. We're also going to put it right here at the top of competitive. I know a lot of people want this guy to be meta, but even last set, he didn't quite make it to meta. He was like right at the cusp. He was like the least prevalent meta character. And this set, we'll talk about it as we get there, but it's hostile to 7-handers, man. It's even more hostile now. There's some really crazy, messed up stuff you can do and just kill people right away, which has always been the case, but it's even worse now in JetBurn. He might. Well, actually, I'm gonna move him up to meta still. I'm gonna put him at the very bottom of meta. I still think Eraserhead is in like top 5, top 10 characters, probably top 10 characters, but it's just so easy to kill him. I don't know. Like, I think we're gonna see people play him. He got a ton of support last set. He got a couple of things this set, nothing too crazy, but yeah, he's somewhere up in here. I'm gonna leave him in meta for now. Throwmite, I'm gonna put him in rogue for now. We see this All Might do stuff every now and then. I think he's like a decent character. He's doing the right things. He puts a lot of stats on his attacks. He draws cards. I just don't know if it's like the most competitive thing that you could be doing. Sarah One's locals tier. You could play Mirio and do way better. Kamira Woods, I think, is a locals tier. He's like just been power crept out. Kirishima One's a meme. No one's gonna play him. She's like a sideboard character. I guess you could play her at locals. Death Ochako 2 is a still very competitive character. We have a lot to work with right now. I'm just gonna leave her right there. Let's put her. Yeah, I think she's competitive. I just don't see her seeing a lot of play. I'm gonna put her at the very top of Rogue for right now. Um, I think she's doing a lot of the right things in this format. The real issue is that her style of deck didn't really get a whole lot. Ostensibly, she'd be really interested in playing with Hood's cards, but she can't. So, this character goes down a peg, but, and this is a tough one. I want to put her in competitive tier. I just don't know if enough people are going to play her in the competitive tier, which puts her in Rogue for me. But I think she's like a really strong Rogue pick. She's probably going to, by the time we're done here, she's going to still be way over here on the left of this Rogue pick. Sato 1. I actually think, I'm going to put this character in Rogue. I actually think this character, we'll put him like right here for now. I think this character is also doing a lot of like the right things. He gives a lot of stats between damage and stun. There's a lot of card draw in the game. This character can absolutely wreck you on turn 2. 29 health is like a decent value for a 6-hander. It's a little on the high end, so he benefits from that extra point or two, which sometimes makes a difference. I think he's a very underexplored character. Not many people play him, but you can do some really crazy stuff with him. This is the, he's a meme. This is the, I thought I had the wrong Ayoma for a second. I'm going to put Ayoma up here in Rogue. He's like a very linear, plays the game at the opponent deck. You'd have to run incredibly hot with this guy to actually get there. I don't know. It'd be a tough sell. I'm going to put Mina 1. I'm going to put her in locals, I think. Ashley 2 is a meme. We're going to put all my 3 up here in competitive. A lot of people last set were experimenting with kind of like good value town, and usually with Mario as a character. And that was always kind of confusing to me, because to me, Mario is a very aggressive in-your-face character. And All Might 3 is a much better at playing that like value-focused game. And I think he's still like an underplayed character. He's not quite meta. He's probably like kind of like the bottom end of my competitive tier. But again, he's like, draws cards, 6-hander, puts stats on stuff. He's beefy at 30 health. Like, I still think he's like a great character. Ojiro 1's a meme. This guy might be locals. I'm just gonna put him in meme. Deku 1, unfortunately, is terribly positioned and is a meme. Asui 1. I'm gonna put her over here in Rogue for now. Only because the meta is so unfriendly to 7-handers. Like you're gonna explode. Like, honestly, it's tough for me to even put a Racerhead here. He might end up getting bumped. We'll come back to him as the video goes on. But for now, I'm gonna put her in Rogue tier. Like, she still does really crazy messed up stuff. And Water got some new tools, including a reprinted Amphibious. So like, you can do stuff with Asui, but I mean, you're a 7-hander, you're gonna explode a lot. Shigaraki 1, I'm gonna put him right here, kind of in the middle. I think this is where he belongs in a Rogue tier. The meta's kind of moved away from him. He wants to play like a slower game where he's like, interacting, blowing up foundations, getting chips in just to get like small pokes that become big damage with his burn. Doesn't really have to, make a lot of risks. But the game's kind of moved away from that. You can play him as like an all-in aggro character that just gets a free burn 5, but there's just better picks for that, I think. Someone really dedicated might be able to put work in with this guy, but it'd be tough. All Might 1, I'm going to put him in locals. I think he's doing the same thing as True Form is. He's just way less consistent. Nomu. I'm going to put Nomu up in the competitive tier. We're going to actually put him like over here. Nomu was a known player last set. I think he still is this set. We're going to see the meta shift even more towards like 6-handers that just pump stats. And Nomu is a good check against those characters. I'm personally not a really big fan of the character. I actually think he's not very good. But I think he plays with his, specifically the Earth symbol well. And he's just very well positioned, which lets him kind of like see more representation than maybe he deserves and perform a little better than he deserves. I think if you're actually playing a fair game, this character, like, he's a lot easier. He's like down here. If you're playing like a fair interactive deck, he's specifically well positioned against a lot of the stuff in the meta though. Next up, we got Momo 1. I'm going to put Momo up here. I'm going to put her in the bottom of the competitive tier. I think Momo is a competitive character that can still do some crazy stuff, but she's hard to play and a little fragile early on, and there's some things that are just going to completely blow her up. We'll get to it as we, go through the rest of the game characters, but we haven't really got to any of the crazy stuff yet. I know some people are very high on this card, and she did top an RLE. Admittedly, it's one of the later RLEs in the season where a lot of people had their invites, and it was a smaller RLE, which kind of, diffuses that data a bit. On the other hand, it was, Broberg who, like, won that event, and it's Broberg who, he's like a well-known player, so you could kind of articulate that either way. I I think she's still like a really good character, and you could definitely play her this set. But I struggle to put her any higher than that. Ochako 1, I'm going to put her also up in competitive, but this is going to be a lot closer to like the top end of the curve. Ochako 1 got a lot of cards this set, and I mean, she's been like a known player. You know, people have been topping here and there with her since she came out on the set 1. And I think she's going to play with the new card, Falling Skies, like incredibly well. I mean, her, like other Ochakos, she might actually end up getting more towards like the middle of the competitive tier, but I could see this character like if people choose a player top. The real issue with her is that she just has so much competition. Todoroki 1, I'm going to put him right at the top of Rogue tier. I know that Todoroki 1 got second place at the USA Nationals I can't talk. Got second place at the USA Nationals this year, and that's really crazy. But I don't know if that's like a consistent result, and I think the format is very unfriendly to this character, and he just wants to play a game that doesn't really jive with you know, the kind of game plan that people are doing. We're actually going to see, I think, even more like linear, like in your face decks, and I mean, he has like the negate on his face helps with that, but it only does so much. I'd be surprised if this guy was any higher than that. Mineta 1 is a meme. Jiro is also a meme, but she's a very competitive meme. This character was already incredibly messed up. She's one of the best characters in the game already, and they gave her a crazy new bomb in Falling Skies, and they also gave her basically a reprinted Unwavering Slash, because that was necessary. This character was already consistently topping events way more often than she should have for her representation, and I can only see that number going even higher now that she's got 2 new tools on air and 1 new tool on good. Like, I cannot wait for rotation for this character to go. Midnight, I'm gonna put Midnight in the kind of bottom of let's put her on the top of Rogue. I just think Midnight she's a good character, but I'd rather be playing a Racerhead or Bird. She might actually wind up. We're gonna put her. I'll put her in the bottom of competitive for now. I think you'd rather be playing like a Racerhead or Bird, but because she does so much of the same stuff, but she's still like a strong character. Comes with Speed Hate and Speed Pump on her face. She has a couple of unique interactions with you know, other discard effects that, you know, while a Racer trigger is better, but you can get more mileage out of things like I'm blanking right now. Pigeon Flock, the 5 Dakota card. You know, you can build in Friend of Animals, committed with your character, get something a bunch of speed, snap a momentum off. It's more of like a chaos trick. On Void, you know, she can play a lot of the same cards that a Racerhead does. Obviously, I think Racerhead kind of plays it better, but she benefits from having like a higher health total. You really can pick your flavor. Kurgray 1 is a meme. Ida 1, I think, is a locals deck. Bird, we're gonna put Bird right up there. This is a character who's been a menace since when he came out in set 1. He's going to continue to be a menace now. Again, this is one of those characters that I cannot for the life of me wait to see cycle. He's getting some damage pump off Gentle Criminal on Chaos. Since he almost always passes his checks, he can get a bunch of damage from Internet Celebrity. So this guy was already a menace, and he's going to be even worse now. Denki 1, I'm going to put him in the Rogue tier. Denki 1 is doing a lot of the same stuff that a lot of the more competitive decks are doing. He's just a little on the soft side, and he needs to draw a more specific hand to get there, which makes him a little bit worse. Togo 1. Togo 1 is a really powerful character, some really powerful interaction. Format is too hostile. And I want to put this character higher. You can play her as a gamer deck and just try to like turn 2 people, or turn 3 at worst. But again, you have better picks for that. Momo 2, she's like a locals character. Yomo is a meme. Ida 2, I think, is a meme. Denki, I actually think Denki is like, I'm gonna put him up here in Rogue tier. I actually think Denki 2 is like kind of unexplored. We know that Emajiki is a powerful kind of like interactive value character on Chaos, and Denki just gets free momentum. Like, he gets it face down, so he doesn't play the face of momentum tools as much, but he still gets free momentum. You know, this guy triggers things like Decoy Duplicate or Broken Psyche for like literally like free. There's got to be something there. I don't know if it's like super competitive, but I could see like a really dedicated Denki player like topping like a PS, or not PSC, like top an RLE. They were like really dedicated and focused. It'd be very similar, I think, to Emajiki, but yeah. This character's a meme. This character is like, I'm going to put her, you just have better turn 2 decks. I'm going to put Bakugo 1 up in the competitive tier. This guy just keeps getting support after support after support. He really benefits from the new cards that have come out with his character in Bakugo 4. It was Bakugo 4. You know, the Void one with discards. Like, he gets like all these new cards that play with his kit well. He keeps his card pool clean. He pumps stats. Like, this is just another character who can go in and kill your opponent on turn 2, but he's very efficient at it. He can do it with like a large mix of cards. He's probably going to end up putting him a bit more towards the bottom. Put him like somewhere like over here, I think. Again, I think you have like better picks, but can get some work in. Stain 1 is a meme. I actually think this character is almost like Rogue tier even after his hits, but people won't play him. I'll put him in like in locals. Sero 2, I'm going to put him kind of in the lower-ish end of Rogue tier. Sero 2 has actually gotten a lot of tools at like stunning and interacting with his opponent on his opponent's turn, but he's still a kind of like on the fragile side. I want to like and place this character like a little bit higher into the Rogue tier, but I just don't think he's doing what you should be doing in this meta. Fourth kind is like Rogue tier and barely. He's like a stun machine. We have so much stun hate, and the meta is just not friendly to 5-handers unless your name is like Nomu, basically. Gunhead is a meme. Cementos. I'm going to put Cementos actually kind of up here in the middle-ish or Rogue tier, somewhere around here. Cementos got a lot of love indirectly from the new Ochako structure deck. They share 2 symbols, and I know it's tough to play a 531, but he's really only a 5-hander for like a turn, and from there he plays with a lot of her cards like incredibly well. Like Falling Skies is a monster in him. I think it's Neck Chop. Ochako, she has like a 1 mid 5 that gets speed equal to your face downs, and then he gives it a bunch of damage. Like, this guy can, like, if he doesn't die right away, he's scary. This character is a meme. This character is a meme. Uabami, I'm gonna put in Rogue tier. If your name is Disaster Dan, you're probably gonna move up a tier with this character. Anyone else, I don't think she's that explorer. Actually, I'm gonna put her like a bit down here. Like, we'll leave her like somewhere in the middle. Like, she just plays a bunch of low damage moves and plays them without progressive. Like, she's a reasonable choice, I think. There's certainly worse things you could be playing, but I'd also rather just play moves that aren't like low damage, even if I get to play them for free and have stat pump on them afterwards. Bakugo 2, this is like a locals character. Snipe is a meme. Also a meme. This character is like a locals character. I think he does some neat things, but he's too slow. Unfortunately, W1 is like a meme. This character is like a locals character. This character is a meme. Mina 2, this is a character I know a lot of people were very high on when we saw all these cards in JetBurn. I'm going to put her kind of in the bottom of the Rogue tier. I've seen a lot of people trying to make this character work, and she does things, and sometimes she draws like the perfect hand and kills people, but it's going to be hard to do that like consistently. And honestly, I'd probably rather be playing Selkie most of the time, unless you're on death. That being said, I think she's like actually like a solidly playable character, and someone really committed this character, I think could get there in top like a PSC. I actually really, even though I'm not planning on doing it, I know other people are trying to work on this character, and I really hope they can find some success. We'll see how she might move up in a stage once we get rotation, because she honestly has like nothing from like set 1 that she cares about. So when rotation leaves and the game slows down a bit, I think she actually moves up even higher. This guy, Tetsu, he's like a locals character, I guess. Mineta 2, I'm going to put at the bottom of competitive. I think Mineta 2 gets a lot of stuff both on Evil and on Water this set. My real issue with this character, honestly, is that he's very weak to capture evildoers, and that card's going to be everywhere right now. There's like at least 3 meta characters I can think of just off the top of my head that are going to be playing it. It's just tough to play this guy into capture evildoers. Both parts of his gimmick get ruined by the card. If Capture Evildoers gets banned, UVS Games, if you're watching this, if it gets banned, this guy, honestly, in my mind, moves at the top of competitive and maybe like underrated even meta. Like, he shoots up heavily. But right now, I'm going to put him down here. I don't think many people are going to play him for that reason. But man, this character has a lot of tools. And if you're not on a Capture Evildoers deck, you're like, he's very messed up. Monoma is like a locals character. Ingenium is a meme. Torino, I think, is a meme. I'm actually going to put Mei Hatsume at the top of Rogue. kind of like near the top of Rogue. Again, Evil got a lot of tools. Life is like a very powerful symbol. She frequently accelerates. Her real issue is that a lot of the stuff at the top is just going to completely blow her up when she's still like a 5 or 6 hander without a lot of abilities before she can really stabilize. And that's a tough sell. Todoroki 2 is like a locals character. He's fallen such a long way. Deku 2, I'm going to put in Rogue. Look, there's like a lot of Dekus. They all do similar stuff. They all play with the new Deku 4 card. Well, not that new now, but they play with Deku 4's cards like incredibly well. Like he's been like, honestly, this guy got more tops, or just about as many tops as Deku 4 did, which is crazy. But yeah, 13. I think 13 is like a locals character at absolute best. She's almost a meme. Locals character, Stan's a locals character. We're going to put her in the bottom of competitive. I think Recovery Girl's on a very similar boat as Mineta 2, where you should probably just be, like, not playing these characters because you're going to lose all the captured evildoer stuff. But if you can just dodge or don't care about that particular matchup, this character can do some, like, really gross stuff. Selkie. I'm going to put, actually, Selkie right here in the bottom of competitive. He might get bumped down once these tiers fill out if I think there's too many competitive. He might go down to the very top of Rogue. Actually, I'm just going to put him there preemptively because a lot of people are playing him. Let's put Deku kind of over here, more in the middle. Selkie, I think, plays with a lot of Mina 2 stuff better than Mina 2 does. Like, I know people are excited for all this tech that worked with Mina 2 because we actually have ways to weaponize face downs. But Selkie does the same thing. So then the question just becomes, do you want some free damage pump or do you want free momentum? And for me, especially on symbols that have access to the 3 diff from Eraserhead 2, Prone to Dry Eyes. This guy has access to Prone to Dry Eyes and decent draw now. I would rather just be playing this character. I think most people are focusing on Mina 2, and Mina 2 might end up being the better pick, but for me, I think Selkie is the better choice. Nezu is a meme. This is Smash Mine. He's like a locals character. Koda is... I'm gonna put him like in the bottom of Rogue. He's trying to do the same thing as like all of these like Bird, for example, Midnight, but I think he's just worse at it. I don't know. I wouldn't play him. Sato 2 is like a locals character. Eraserhead 2. I'm gonna put him in a Rogue tier. I think his enhance playing with like, you know, giving speed or card draw on all of his moves is really nice. He gets to selectively remove abilities from attacks, which is honestly almost as good as Todoroki's. We're going to put him a little bit higher up, actually. We'll put him like over here. Just kind of roughly in the middle of the pack. So like he has some good things going on, but he just pumps speed and he's a bit too honest. And honestly, I'd rather be playing Eraserhead 1, like in most situations. Ojiro 3, I actually think is like a pretty decent character, but no one's going to play him, so he'll go on locals. Ida 3 doesn't even have text in a world with capture evildoers. If it gets banned, he goes into like locals tier. I'm gonna put Toru 2 in like the bottom of Rogue tier. I think she pumps speed more or less, but she does it really honestly. And like the ability to mess with your opponent's card play is really useful into some decks and matchups, especially like Bird. But I just think she's honestly playing like, quite frankly, playing way too honest of a game plan. This character is a super meme. Backdraft is a meme. Death Arms is like, again, we're gonna put him kind of in the Rogue tier. We've seen people have limited success with this guy as like a foundation denial kit. I just don't know if that's really like good enough as anything outside of like a really lucky run as a Rogue character. Endeavor 2. I love this character. I think he's a blast, but he's like locals tier for me. Pixie's locals tier. Tiger, I think, is also kind of like Rogue. Again, playing like honestly like kind of a relatively fair game plan. Playing like throws, trying to punish your opponent for like, you know, not blocking his moves. He's got a bit of stat manipulation, but like he just kind of builds himself. This was a character I actually thought would be a lot higher when he got previewed, and he ended up not really doing a whole lot. A Ragdoll, I think, is a meme in this format. In retro, she's messed up, but in this format, on meme. Mandalay is like, I think, kind of like a Rogue character. I'm gonna put the bomb at Rogue. I don't know nobody plays this character, but Life has access to 2 foundations that don't count towards progressive difficulty, and she can play life punches. So you can play like a bunch of life punches and then play foundations that don't count towards progressive and play them on like comically cheap difficulty curves. So I think you could do something with this character if you try, just because she pumps damage. I just think you've got better picks. Musker is a meme. Kierkegaard 2 is a locals deck. Dobby 2 is a rogue character. Yeah, let's put him like in the middle of rogue. You'd rather be playing like some of these other characters instead of playing Dobby 2, but at least he's an alternative. When Bird cycles, I think Dobby 2 will get a little bit of mileage. Spinner, I think, is a locals character. Racerhead, what am I saying? Moonfish is a meme. Toga 2 is a meme. This guy. Let's talk about this guy. I'm going to put him right here at the top of rogue. Shiggy 3 is so close to being competitive. He got a lot of support this set. He's already been running around here and there, topping events. He didn't do a whole lot last set, but he's getting a big shot on the arm this set. My problem with this guy, ultimately, is that he's just kind of prone to getting blown up. Like, if you can get a lot of check hacks in play in your opening builds, he's not going to die, but that's not consistent. He might, if someone finds, like, the build for him, he might end up here. But to me, he's, like, the highest tier rogue character. He might end up as, like, the bottomest competitive character. But for now, I've got Rappa as, like, the lowest competitive character. I think Rappa's playing a relatively fair game. He basically needs to play a 2-check and needs to draw it and not check it to kill you. Otherwise, the character and deck don't do anything. I know it feels like Rappas always have 5 attacks, but look at how Rappas actually perform at events, especially big events. They don't do that well. You're honestly really better off just playing Jiro than playing this guy. They have very similar game plans, even though they, execute it differently. But, way worse characters you could be playing. Twice. I know people love him, but I think he's a meme. Compress ended up being a locals character. I don't even think he's rogue. Let's put him I guess he's like middle of the pack. Hojo, I think, is a locals character. I know like one person top of them one time. I think that's very good. All for One. I'm going to put actually All for One kind of up here in the rogue category. His symbols keep getting a lot of support, and he, on face, is a character that pumps damage, has momentum play, and he comes with a free Omni block. I don't think he's like the best character in the game or anything, and there's probably better characters on all of his symbols you could be playing, but I wouldn't sleep on this guy. You can do some pretty gross stuff with him. You should just play All Might 3. Ball Might, I'm going to put kind of over here in Rogue. Speaking of characters getting a lot of support on symbols, he plays with weird keywords for an All Might, like weapon and range is like a weird pick, but there's actually a lot to work with now that will work off these keywords. So I think you could actually do something pretty neat with this character. I don't know if it'd be like super competitive. Let's actually lower him a bit. He's probably more like down here. I think he's like super competitive, but he's not bad. Deku 4. I'm gonna put Deku 4 kind of high end of rogue tier. I think he's better than most of the other Dekus. Other than maybe Deku 4. Sorry, this is Deku 3. There's so many Dekus, man. But he gives Breaker 2 and Stun 2. He also gives like static damage pump and once per game card draw. He's a little inconsistent because he needs to find copies of his character, but we are getting ways this set on at least I think Earth. I'm trying to remember Mount Lady. I'd have to cheat and check. I would look, but I can't see symbols on new characters. I think he shares a symbol with Mount Lady, and he can play Titan Cliff and build characters out of his bin, which is like a huge boon for this guy. So I'm going to put him kind of up here in Rogue for now. Bakugo 3, we're going to put over here like in the middle of Rogue tier. Honestly, you should just be playing Bakugo 1 or 4, but you can play this guy if you want. He's certainly tall at the ride. He draws a ton of cards. He can keep his card pool relatively clear. He has some damage pump. All things that you need. This is a Staff Strike deck. I don't know, go over here. This character, I think, just sucks. I'd be surprised if anything happens. Magni, character just sucks. Chronostasis is a locals character. This guy is like a locals character. Jidorosaki is a locals character. And honestly, the only reason he's a locals character is because he cares about momentum and giving your opponent momentum. And this guy just had force rechecks and +2, -2 speed and target commit. This guy would be like way high. But as it is, he's like a locals character. Oh man, I don't even want to put this guy on Rogue. I'm gonna put him like kind of in the top of locals. I know there was like an A top with this character. I just don't think he's very good. Nejire. Man, I know people are so high on Nejire and think she's very competitive. Guys, I gotta break it to you, man. A lot of people try to make Nedry work. She got nothing, 0 tops. She didn't top like a PSC, didn't top a regional or a national. She didn't top anything. I know this character reads insane on face. She's like a 7-hand 35 health character that reduces speed and pumps damage. Like, she should be great. She just gets splatted. I think if we see the format really slow down, she's going to immediately shoot up to like right here, right? Everyone else puts her. But I can't rate her on the format we might be in later. I have to rate her on the format we're in now. She is very competitive. Like she's still better than a lot of other stuff. She's rogue, but she's like the top of the rogue tier. But honestly, I'd rather probably be playing Momo. Momo's at least more established. Mimic, we're gonna put her in the competitives here. Put somewhere around here for now. I'm actually gonna move this All Might down a bit and move All for One over here just a little bit. Adjust these now that we have some more spots. Mimic's a really competitive character. He was competitive last set. Evil's getting some new tools. Chaos is getting new tools. He's still a really good character. Lock is a meme. This guy is a locals character. This guy I'm going to put into the top of Rogue. I think he's incredibly... Somewhere over here. I think he's like kind of like Denki 2, where he's just very underexplored. And I can't really put him any higher because he doesn't really see much play. But I think he's good. He's doing everything you should want to do. Draws cards. Pumps stats. Like, he's annoying. Innsmouth. Same thing. I'm going to put him kind of over here-ish in the Rogue tier. Again, he's like a linear... Clog your car pool, pump stats, kill you deck. We just have better picks for that. I forget your name, but I know you're the larceny guy. I'm going to put you over here kind of in the middle of Rogue tier. I know he got like a top. He's just like, I think he's playing way too honest of a game. At least for like the format that we're in. So many of these decks up here are just don't play fair, for lack of a better way to put it. They're all cheating in some way. So any even remotely fair character can't be placed very high. This character's a meme. Fatgum is a locals character. Fatgum 2, you get to go with Fatgum. Night Eye, I'm going to put here in the bottom of Rogue tier. Maybe not quite bottom. We'll put him like somewhere over here. Kind of middle Rogue tier. Night Eye didn't do anything last set. This set on death, he actually gets access to all of Todoroki 4's cards. And they play really well with this character. So I could see like a death control deck maybe running hot. If someone puts the time in and figures this character out, like, I think there's something to it. I just don't know what it is. So I'm going to, like... This guy might not end up doing anything, but I believe in him. Deku 4, we're going to put it also here very high in the Rogue tier. Deku 4 had a couple of regional tops at a very small regional, and that was about it. He actually had pretty good representation. I just don't think he's as good as a lot of the other characters. I don't know, man. Like, at the end of the day, he's still like a 5-hander. Like, he gets to draw cards on defense, but on offense, you're just still like a 5-hander. So he's just too inconsistent, even though there's a lot of draw on his symbols. Imajiki. Imajiki is still a solidly competitive character. We're going to put him kind of like somewhere over here. Let's actually push All Might 3 down somewhere like that. Yeah, this guy gets free momentum, free stat pump. He's like a well-known competitive deck. We're gonna actually push these over here some. But he's, well-known factor. He's quite good. Bubble Girl. We're gonna put Bubble Girl in kind of high-ish Rogue tier. I think she's a little better than she reads. When she came out, people said she was like incredible, and I've done some like in-house play testing. She has some neat moves on good with Symbol of Peace and as just like another water character with speed play on face. But at the end of the day, she's just like basically like a stat stick of providing speed pump, and then she's a little bit better at providing speed pump or speed hate once. I don't know. Very honest, very boring, but not a bad character. Mirio. This guy's not going anywhere, man. Capture Evildoers isn't banned. This guy didn't get a whole lot, but he didn't need a whole lot. He's still going to turn to you. Overhaul. I know this guy won the USA NAS, and he probably last format was the best character in the game, or one of the best characters, definitely. And I still think he is, but man, I think this meta is going to be toxic to anyone who's trying to play like interactive, like 6-hander focus strategies, or sorry, any kind of interactive strategy. I want to place this guy higher. in the meta and be like comfortable with it, but he I don't know. We'll see how things shake out. He might stay in the meta tier. Toga 3. I know this is crazy, right? A lot of people don't like this character. They think she's like a locals tier. I actually think this character is incredibly slept on by a lot of people. On Chaos, I think she's a little boring. She's a one-trick pony. She's just a momentum factory. But there's a lot of payoffs in Chaos for being a momentum factory. On Life and Death, she's like a weapon stun machine. You can get like crazy high stun values with this character and leave your opponent completely defenseless. On top of, again, getting free momentum. Also, I know she only pumps her first attack, but +3/+2 is like absurd out the gate in conjunction with a bunch of stun. Like, you can just jam an attack and get 2 momentum, build a few times, and not commit a card, and have plenty of stage to work with for defense. Like, this character has incredible value. I think this, like, again, she might end up somewhere more like the top end of Rogue than bottom of competitive, but I think this character is crazy slept on. I'm super down to be proven wrong, but she's going to top at least one RLE, I promise you. I'm going to put a Chaco right up here. Chaco 4 is crazy. A lot of her cards are good. She's a well-designed aggro character, but she's a really good aggro character. My only complaint with her is that she can pump throws, so you can play, like, all throws, basically, on a couple of her symbols, and literally just, like, put damage on them and throw your opponent to death. It's very, very boring and very lame, but it's an option. Genist, this guy has the wrong symbols, man. He'd be up in here somewhere if he had either Chaos or Water, but his symbol choices are just bizarre. Dobby 3, I'm a little higher on Dobby than some people are. I'm going to put him kind of in the bottom-ish of Rogue tier. Obviously, his cards are great in other evil characters, and I do generally think that other evil characters play his game a little better. But he is an evil character with speed pump and speed hate on his face that's repeatable, and he does also come with a sort of soft damage pump as well. So he's just like a six-hander that pumps stats both on offense and defense, and he occasionally confirms his next check. So he's just like a six-hander that provides value. I don't think he's like crazy good. There's obviously better stuff you could be playing, but there's way worse stuff you could be playing too. Endeavor 3, I think, is solidly like, I'll put him like up here in the Rogue tier. I think he's like a good stat stick once you get to cycle, but getting there can be tough, and a lot of the stuff in the meta is very unfriendly to that, so a bit of a tough sell for me. Criminal. I'm going to put Criminal up here solidly in the competitive tier. Criminal has basically never commits cards to pass checks. Either that or he's just getting free damage and free momentum. He's got free card selection with Lover Mode. He's got really good free speed hate. He basically never blocks on progressive, which is like a great form of speed hate on Chaos. His moves are crazy hard to block because they get very fast. I figured he'd be like a Chaos only character when he got previewed, but some people have been working on like a Void, like all flash deck with him that's really cool too, because if you block his attacks, then his next ones get faster. So you can do some neat stuff with this guy. I think he's very good. He might be a little high for him, but I think it's only a little high. I think he's very good. Hawks. I don't even want to put this guy in Rogue. I'm going to put him with Tiger, I guess. If Tiger can be in Rogue tier, so can Hawks. Hawks really... Honestly, if Hawks had a passive where he just started with a single feather in his discard pile, I think this character would go up several legs. But he's just like a more fair Tiger for the most part for a lot of the game. It takes him too long to consistently come online. You're kind of forced into playing his own kit. There's just way better stuff that you'd be doing. The character basically gives +1 or -1 speed, and that's it. I don't know, man. Like, again, there's just better stuff you can be doing, I think. Hood. I'm gonna put Hood kind of solid in the middle of the Rogue tier. I think Hood has better board interaction than Nomu does. They're very similar characters, but where Hood gets to kind of like mess with a couple foundations, he also eats 10 damage at a time, and Nomu only takes 6, and that really adds up, especially when you're at 33 versus 35. I think he's a little hard to turn to, which is good, and at least means he's better than a solid selection of characters you could be playing. Actually, this might be a little... Let's move him like up here. Give him a bit more credit. But I still think you've got way better picks. Deku. We're going to put Deku up here. He's another one of these like really high prospect like Rogue decks. I don't think he's quite good enough to be competitive. Writing your opponent's foundations can be a cost, depending on, you know, what they choose to commit or what they use. And I think ultimately he just pumps a lot of speed and a lot of damage, so it's a little tough for him to get there. He plays his ultra rare shoot style like a menace. Card's completely different to him than any other character. But again, I just don't quite know if he's doing what you should be doing in this meta, but he's on good symbols and he's got like good effects on face. Bakugo. I'm going to put Bakugo up here also in the... put him kind of over here too in the competitive tier. I think Bakugo 4 is also like a competitive pick. I think he's doing very similar things to Bakugo 1. Helps keep his card pool clear. He has... You can't reduce the damage on his attacks. It's just not an option. He gets moves crazy high with, I think, Rabble Rousing is the attack. And he has free discard to boot. He has to draw attacks organically. He's got no card movement. But, again, like, that doesn't stop a lot of these other characters that also don't have card movement have to draw them. Jiro. We're going to talk a little bit about this character. I'm going to leave her in Rogue tier for a second. So, I think, and this is my like nuclear hot take, I think both this character and Tasty Riff are both a little overrated. Talking about the character itself first, she's a 7-hander with 19 health who reduces speed on defense and flows a little better on offense. Like she plays her attacks a little easier on offense. That is useful. That's like a decent character. But I'll point out that again that we have a 7-hander with 35 health who reduces speed and doesn't smooth out her attacks, but she pumps damage instead. And she didn't top a single event. Now, obviously, they don't have the exact same symbols, right? Like air and life versus water and good, right? So, like, you know, not the exact same thing. But I just, people talk about how I was like, she's up here, and I just don't believe it. Now, that being said, we're going to put this in the ban capture evildoers, please. Why is it? Ban capture evildoers, please. Now, because this character plays a really gross loop with Tasty Rift and capture evildoers, where Tasty Rift can't build itself, but it can build UA high, which can then fetch you a Tasty Rift, and then capture evildoers can clear those cards out. She can get free momentum off other copies of capture evildoers if she has capture evildoer copies to spare, or off Pigeon Flonk and Friend of Animals. And then Fierce Wings, a new secret rare from the set, can find pieces that she's missing. This character just actually farms like 25 applause counters once she's set up, and it's gross, and this card needs to go, man. I mean, there's more that I would hint than that, but this card needs to capture evildoers needs to go. Speaking of capture evildoers, let's talk about Ryuku. We're going to put her in Rogue tier to start. Because, like, look, man, this is like a dragon lady, but she's not even like a dragon. And in fact, we're putting a locals tier. Because, like, even her moves don't have text. And, like, that's kind of lame. In fact, we're going to move her down here to meme tier. Because, I mean, like, she's just like a 6-hander who pumps stats. Obviously, I'm joking. This character goes up here in the capture evildoers tier. I don't know... It's crazy to me that they have to like wait and see or monitor or whatever. Like I'm trying to be fair and positive, but like man, even without capture evildoers, she still gets to like loop attacks between vast strength and her ultra rare, and she still gets to play a bunch of cards at you like relatively easily. You can do some really crazy stuff with this character. Even when the capture evildoers gone, this character is still like somewhere in this category. Like genuinely, honestly, these two and capture are like a big part of why I think the meta is going to be so hostile to like other 7-handers. Like it's so like what do you blank as like Eraserhead, right? You can just like, yeah, here I'm going to turn off your character. You can't give it damage, but they don't care. They already got the momentum, and they're just gonna like I don't know, use it to play capture or use it to play other abilities or put it on top of the deck with celebrity status so they check a 5. I just stupid. Todoroki, I'm going to put up here near the top of competitive. We had to errata a character who gave a bunch of stats on moves. This guy gives a bunch of stats on moves and seals your board. The only reason he's not up here is because he doesn't replay attacks. He turns your board off instead, which is not quite as good. But This guy is still gross. Like, he's messed up. He's very unfun to play against, and frankly, I wouldn't be that surprised if, like, as formats go on, if he gets looked at or becomes like a menace. Like, I see potential for him to be such a huge issue. Asui. I'm gonna put Asui up here in the rogue tier. I know people are really high on this character, and genuinely, it's nice to have a water character that draws cards. But she's basically a more balanced version. That's probably too friendly. I honestly think we'll put her right here with her Asui 1, just behind. Honestly, I think she's worse than Asui 1 in most situations. Pumping 2 speed is better than pumping a damage for pushing damage through, and while her discard cost is trivialized by her character, she gets to clear 1 card, Asui can clear a lot of them. The only advantage that Asui 3 has is that she's less keyword gated, so you can do more stuff with her, which is neat. The problem with that is trying to do something with this character that doesn't just become like a knockoff version of like Tokoyami or a Chaco or some other, like one of these other like more powerful characters you'd rather be playing. She does draw a lot of cards, but that's not enough. I think her stocks again will go up in a post-rotation world. Kami Utsushimi. I'm gonna put her in the middle of rogue tier, and this is tough for me because she's kind of unexplored. Put her like here in the middle. She's kind of underexplored because she hasn't, we haven't had any tournaments. This character long term is either gonna end up like down here in like meme locals character, or like up here in super competitive. And it really just depends on if someone can crack like the code and come up with like a really good combo deck for this character. Because that's all she is a combo character. That's what she works out to be. She's super annoying. Edge Shot. I'm going to have Edge Shot here as my... I'm going to leave Eraserhead too. He might really belong down here in my mind, to be honest. But I'm going to leave him here. We'll see. Yeah, I guess he gets to stay. Edge Shot is going to be the top of competitive for me. This guy got banned and is banned in retro, and they reprinted him. I know he's got slightly different symbols, 2 different ones, but it's crazy to me that they saw a character that did get banned in retro and thought it would be like fine. And they reprinted a bunch of support for him as well. Again, not the choice I would have made. This guy gets to absolutely make a complete joke of like building. He can play like the most scuffed foundation lineups because his foundations are dirt cheap to play. And then when he's actually attacking, all his moves are like +3, +3, +4, +4. Again, we just talked about, I just talked about how we had to hit a character who gave a bunch of stats. And now there's another one. We're gonna put Inasa up here again in this like really high tier rogue characters. These are characters that I think are rogue. They're very promising. This guy does a lot, man. Like he gets to like abuse foundations, and he gives like free stat pumps and speed hate either which direction. So you can reuse powerful effects. You can, commit cards out of commit abilities, or playable while committed. It's not like a cost. He plays blood transfer like an absolute madman. I think there's a lot to like about this character. It's just, again, there's so much stuff up here that's way more unfair and messed up. Guys, I know some people like this character. I think he sucks. If you want to play with review stuff, you should just play with Edge Shot or Mount Lady. You've got great picks. Speaking of Mount Lady, we're gonna put her up here again, tip top of rogue tier. I think the most competitive character. This might be a little high for him. I'm putting him like somewhere over here, something like that. I think Edge Shot's your best pick if you want to play like with like a lurker that like cares about reviewing cards, because he's at least a little bit more consistent. That being said, Mount Lady can get to some really good damage values, and once you get to 5 counters, like her ability is like scary. That being said, she's a little bit more reliant on finding review focused stuff. Like she badly needs to find Titan Cliffs to function, or her 5 diffs, the 5 mid 3. So sometimes you're gonna take a couple turns to come online, and she doesn't do anything until she's online. So it's hard for me to place her any higher because I don't think she's consistent enough. Mirko, everybody's favorite. I'm gonna also put her kind of high up here in rogue tier. I don't think she's quite as promising as some of these other crazy characters, but she plays off 2 really good keywords on her symbols in Fury and Kick. You got a lot of picks for those on her symbols. She gets to cheat checks. She gets to hack her opponent's checks. Granted, you have to do it proactively instead of reactively, which is not ideal, but it's still a good ability. And she has lots of ways to cheat progressive on her symbols, like in her kit. So you can do some really gross stuff with this character. I think she's pretty good, actually. Again, like a lot better than a huge selection of the characters you could be playing. But yeah, that's my tier list. And I'm still iffy on Eraserhead being up here, but I just think this meta is like incredibly hostile. Like this character is going to be playing the game at you. This character plays the game at you, plays the game at you, plays the game at you, plays the game at you. These characters are at least interactive. Even some of this stuff, like this character is a punching bag until he plays the game at you. This character kind of wants to play the game at you. I just genuinely, I think the meta for JetBurn is going to end up being really gross. Like, even if some of these get shifted around a bit, I think you're going to, like, we're just here to play six-handers that pump stats and kill people. And that's what a lot of, like, this, like, competitive and meta stuff is going to look like. And then, of course, Ryuku. I will be doing a lot of fun and at least, like, rogue tier decks on the channel, along with talking strategy and dealing with the meta the best that you can. But I just don't think we're going to be in for diversity of gameplay. We'll have diversity of characters, but I think the gameplay is going to be tough. Hopefully, I get proven wrong on that front. But for now, that's going to conclude my tier list. So once again, thank you for Into the Chamber, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.